Well, hey, welcome to the show before the show. I'm your host, Patrick Marlette, the local game guy, and I will be brewing Obby Wobby, the cute and fuzzy death machine. That is how he is titled currently. The list over on Tapped Out. Yes, Tapped Out. Stop asking me about Tapped Out. It's in the link in the description, though, if you want to check it out. Copy and paste it to your select editor, provided you want to follow along and improve upon the blueprint we create today. But as with all of these live stream brewing sessions, this isn't just my take. This is everyone in the audience as of the date of recording the stream. So if you are a part of the live audience, congratulations, you get to dictate part of how this deck operates. And I'm excited for your enthusiasm, so please feel free to comment on all the things you want Ob Nixilis to be and do with its 99. So, and again, you know, I've spoken to death, or I've definitely spoken a lot about this card on the channel. I don't have the exact play lines measured out. It should be fairly obvious, I feel, within Rakdos. We might even want to include an ad nauseum package because we have all of the rituals. It's just going to help us get there quickly. But I don't see this much differently than like a farm deck that's drawing off of our opponents, right? We're going to be a damage deck that's also farming off our opponents, but in a slightly different way. If you haven't seen Ob Nixilis, Captive Kingpin, the way he operates is if your opponents take, I believe, just one damage, you'll get to exile the top card of your library and play it until your next end step. So essentially you're farming off of your opponents in much the same fashion, except it's a lot safer because a lot of the pingers don't require you to actually swing in on your opponents. So I think the strategy is sound. There is a lot of redundancy for it. It does need those specific things though. So it's not gonna be like playing Blue Farm where you cast a commander and you just start drawing because you have things that can swing in the air. Say that Crumb, right? That's a different strategy. It's consistent draw. This should be consistent draw, like virtual draw, provided we keep the right starting hand. And again, there's a lot of redundancy for it. There's a lot of ritual ramp in Rakdos, all of the best ritual ramps. So we're going to get to either an ad nauseum underworld breach, you know, that kind of play, or all will be one, which should be very easy to push out. And provided we have protection, right? Like if we exile all will be one and a lot of protection, it should be very simple to just Jessica's Will, all will be one. REB, Deflecting Swat, Imp's Mischief, I'm gonna keep this alive, Tybalt's Trickery, did it resolve? Did it resolve? Well, that's like a bunch of Firebrand Archer triggers and whatever other pingers you have, right, that's gonna set that off. Mind you, you know, it'll need to have entered and then you can cast anything at that point. Anything. Literally, just get it to start and then it won't stop, right? Until your opponents are dead. Sub G Prosper. Sub G Prosper, is that slang for something? Are you talking about Prosper, like Prosperos? Are you talking about the other Rakdos leader? Is his name Prosper? Prosper Tomebound. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I feel like this is probably just going to be more effective than Prosper. Let me see here. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until your next turn, right? Until the end of your next turn, you'll be like, all right. Whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. That's pretty good. I've not seen anyone play this Tiefling Warlock, but he's not bad. Death Touch 1/4. Respectable. Very good on the block. No one is going to swing into that, though, provided they're going to get eaten alive and they know it. At any rate, so those are some of my general thoughts on the list. I have not set up anything for this deck because this is very, very quick switcheroony on you guys. If you were expecting us to discuss Zulodok, us being myself and Will, that has been postponed till next week because I forgot that I need to be at a thing at sometime after 7 tonight. So this got bumped up a little bit earlier because I know it always takes long. These always, at least, no matter how hard I try, these always go like 2 hours. Probably because I talk a lot, but it's going to go about 2 hours, I imagine, and I need to leave. So bumped earlier, and I wanted to do Zulodok with Will still because, you know, it's going to be difficult making that work. So I'm going to need someone for moral support. So we switched it for next Wednesday because that's when Will is also available, and Will has regular work hours like normal people, and I believe is normally free after 6. So provided everything checks out, he and I will be building Zuladoc next Wednesday. And of course, I leave it up to you guys to potentially discuss whatever we want to make next. That's sort of the beauty of these streams. Prosper combos with Ob Nixilis with Sensei's Dividing Top and one of the artifact ping creatures. So whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. I see what you're saying. That is really cool. And in case you guys aren't catching this, I've not looked at any combos outside of All Will Be One. Like that's the easiest thing to do. But what's being suggested here is that you just draw through your deck. All right. So if you don't know, Sensei's Dividing Top has this ability where you can draw a card, place Sensei's Dividing Top on top of your deck. Right. So what you would do is ping a creature, commit to the exile cast trigger on your leader, Ob Nixilis. And then what you would do is draw and place Sensei's Dividing Top before that resolves so that it gets exiled, right? And then when you cast it, you create a treasure. So essentially you're net even on the mana cost and gain, but what you're doing is drawing through your deck with Sensei's Dividing Top. That's more than cute. That's actually not bad. It does require Ob Nixilis, a pinger, Sensei's Dividing Top, and Prosper. So it is a 4-card combo technically. But I mean, if the stars align, it works. If you guys want to do Prosper in Ob Nixilis, sure. Right? The only reason I'm suggesting All Will Be One is because it's technically a 3-card combo. Right? Because Ob Nixilis doesn't have 1 damage. So the thing is, we want to get the trigger and put the counter on him, and then All Will Be One. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be One deals that much damage to target opponent creature an opponent controls or planeswalker an opponent controls, right? So it's a 3-card combo, very easy to set up in the list. Prosper's a little extra. Normally I try to avoid 4-card combos, but if you guys want, we can do it. I mean, Sensei's Dividing Top will probably be in the list anyways. So yeah, I just want to see the Dance of Calamity in some way. It's what the people want. Right, and Dance of Calamity is new. It's weird because like we were in Rakdos, so it's like, do you really like you're just gonna add Nas? It's not dance, it's dance with, right? Dance with Calamity? Dance with Calamity, yeah. 8-cost card. I mean, hell, we can slam it. I don't see why not. You can just drain with different aristocrats find effects. Yeah. All Will Be One should definitely be included. Right, John, thank you. And I agree. It should be. Urboss seems good in the deck with Senseis, and I'm assuming we mean just Urabrosk, the new one. Urabrosk. You guys aren't seeing this. I'll narrate. I'll narrate for you guys. Do we like here? I'm not in love with here. I'm going to show you. Okay. So we're using something called Cinelike D on Panasonic, and it gives it a cinematic look, but it's a little washed out in my opinion. And I'm kind of thinking that I would rather, not that. This is the show before the show stuff. See, now I like this because I'm underexposed, but I'm using this as a real-time LUT viewer. So the LUT I have attached to this camera right now is called Vintage by Panasonic. And it gives it I think it gives it a more matured color tone. I think it looks good. So I'm going to stick with this. The other one it's too washed out. Anyways. Yeah, a very important poll going on, by the way. Are we going to ping? Are we going to ping? Or are we going to boom? Let me know. Urboss seems good in the deck with Sensei's Dividing Top. So yeah, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Urboss deals 1 damage to target opponent. Add a red. So Urboss seems good in the 99. Oh wait, it's instant or sorcery. Yeah, sadly. It won't work with Sensei's, but it just won't work with Sensei's. Sadly, they did think that through. They did think that combination of cards through, but it was so close. Is it almost time? Is it time? Okay. It's time to start the official stream, I think, so I don't go too long. But hi, welcome to Local Game Guy. I'm your local game guy, Patrick Marlett, and today we're going to be brewing. Welcome to LGG. I'm your host, the local game guy. I need to really like come out with a clean intro for everything. But I've been ending on that. Something similar to that. At any rate, all of that aside, we will be brewing Ob Nixilis Captive Kingpin, which you'll be seeing right about now. So this is the latest and greatest Rakdosian commander. You're going to see him twice. He's that good. For 2 generic and Rakdos, 4/3 body, legendary creature, demon, we can play with that subtype if we want. There's some stuff that cares. Flample, whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, put a +1/+1 counter on Ob Nixie, Captive Kingpin. Boopity boopity. Exile the top card of your library. Until your next end step, you may play that card. Go to town, baby boy and girl. Go to town. All right, so is this card going to be expensive when it comes out? Probably. Is everyone going to be jonesing to get their hands on Ob Nixilis? Probably, because he does a lot. He does a lot of work. I think he's going to be a good card. Again, there are so many pingers. So many pingers. I have a... I should have kept that list. I had an ongoing list, but we're just gonna look through the pingers today together and find out which ones are the best, because we don't need all of them. That's maybe a little crazy. Hell, maybe we do need all of them. All of them up to a certain CMC, because we're going to want to fill the list with other things. But I'm excited to build for this because it's probably going to be the most consistent thing in Rakdos. Anya is very hard to pilot. If you've never played Anya Falconwrath, don't start now. Don't start now with Ob Nixilis. And I would say even Prosper looks more interesting. I can put up Prosper again. I was literally just looking at it as we discussed it. You can see how the many ways I misspelt Dance of Calamity. It's Dance with Calamity. But there's Prosper Tomebound. This is the card that was being suggested as a combo piece with Sensei's Divining Top, Pinger, and of course Obby Wobby here. So Obby Wobby was a demon. Obby Wobby had no lands. That's it. That's all I have for the nursery rhyme so far. We actually need to build out the land base again this very last minute. So I want you to put on your thinking caps with me, and let's step into the world of Rakdos and figure out what lands, if any, are necessary for our boy Obby Wobby before we jump into the actual meat and potatoes of the deck. And I think it's probably time I can end this survey. We'll end the age-old question. If we go ping ping, boom, or ping. Okay, well, okay. Ping ping. 58% boom, 37% in ping, 4%. Thank you for the 24 votes. More than we have on the stream right now. Come on. Don't just come in and leave. Come in and watch. All right. Hello, says Jay-Z. Are we getting a Diablo stream? Yes. So, Matthias. Yes, I would love to stream Diablo when it comes out. Maybe I'll play a Necromancer this go around. They look gross. I feel like they're historically gross. But Barbarian was super fun. Like I did this ridiculous Thorn build. Like it was so good. Like off stream, I played for several hours more. And I got this Barbarian to the point where I could literally just walk into any room and things would just die. I had all the right equipment, by the way. Like I pulled all the right legendaries. I wish you get to keep your character and all that progress, but that's, neither here nor there. Just wasted hours. What the hell? We'll probably play that, and I just need to set aside a day where we actually stream just video games, because I really love video games. I also want to set up a day where we stream One Piece, because I want to be king of the pirates. And I can't for the life of me. I can get into cEDH tournaments, and they're expensive. I'll be playing one on June 18th, as a matter of fact, so maybe I'll track the progress and talk to you guys about that as like a segment on the show. But my goal is to win the shit out of that tournament. And I'll be playing blue. That's right. I'm breaking tradition. I've said it a million times. If I just played blue, I'd probably be more consistent. So we're going to see. My goal is to win that tournament, get a Mishra's Workshop, and then not give it away. Probably put it in Oswald. That's my goal for that. But One Piece, Lord, I can't get into a single tournament. They're gone in seconds, like seats for that game. So I'm just going to reach out to content creators in the space and game with them instead, because I want to play the best. And I would like to put my decks against the best, but I can't, the life of me, I've tried like 4 separate times. It's very, very frustrating. Bandai Namco, just invite me, Bandai. I know you don't know me or that I like One Piece. Ob Nixilis Captive Kingpin looks so fly in that picture. He does. He's got like 3 baby mamas. This is drunk log. Yeah. All I want is a list for Nafelshini. I can't, I don't know what that is. Sebastian Roger is my favorite in Rakdos. Pup Stomp MTG. Yes, I agree with you. Still my favorite too. Technically still my favorite. I think that's some serious draw right there. When Mount Doom releases, we definitely want it in there. I mean, if we could just put Mount Doom in there now, yeah, why not? But you know, it's not a officially released card, but I think the LOTR set comes out soon. So deals one. Yeah, that seems like a good card. I mean, I don't know how many lands am I gonna get. Oh god, we'll find out. It can be sub general in the deck, maybe not an infinite combo, but value engine, impulse, treasure. Yeah. I think Matt, I think you're right with Prosper. I'll put Prosper in now. It's fine. He seems fine. You know, normally I don't like to go above 3MC for like value engines of the deck if they're solely there for as value engines, but it's fine. I think since he's Divining Top and it will likely just be in there. Shivan Gorge worth a land spot. Is Shivan Gorge another one of those do damage to people things? Oh, you know what? Wait, what was that MD? No, what was that MDFC? Isn't there like a needle drop? Isn't there an MDFC that does 1 damage to everyone? It's red. Like in my mind, that seems like a cool, obviously like Command Tower, okay, Mana Confluence, City of Brass, Command Tower. Like these are all obvious ones. Those rainbow lands. I don't think we're pushing hard enough for Tarnished Citadel. We don't want to do that. But I want to look at Shivan Gorge with you. Scoob G beat me to it. Scoob G said Shivan Gorge. I think it is what I'm thinking, and I'm going to say yes. And when we get to it, we'll probably all say yes again collectively. Hey, I'm a content creator myself. Would love to get some games in for MTG or for One Piece. Local game showdown One Piece edition. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking of making it like Tuesdays. So if you guys just want to watch a different game played, I'm going to probably play on Tuesday evenings. And I've got a Luffy deck right now that it's been 2 weeks. I don't want to out this person on TCG Player. TCG Player, by the way, if you've been asking like how to help support the channel, I have the TCG affiliate link back up and running. So if you want to buy singles through that link, that's the best way to support the channel, or super chats or whatever. You don't have to, but if you're going to buy cards, do it that way. TCG Player, love the site. Great source for a lot of different TCGs. Go figure, it's in the name. Some of these sellers take a minute. Like there's a premium on Card Kingdom, but I understand why the premium's there because they're usually good with the shipping speeds. But my lord, this guy, 2 weeks late. Luffy deck's almost done, I should say. It's missing Nico Robbins. If you know who you are and you ship the shit really late, shame on you. It does not take 2 weeks. God, that frustrates me to no end though. But I've been waiting for that the whole time. I've literally built out a Doflamingo deck in the time it's taken for me to not receive those Nico Robin cards. But I want to get those in and start playing Luffy because my Luffy deck spanks. It's pretty damn good, I gotta say. And then I have a Smoker list. A Smoker, I pulled Smoker, Alter, which you might have seen in the live stream, but I also have a Sakazuki deck that I really like. So I've got those 3. All in preparation for OPO3. Like the Luffy list stays the same, and I'm probably just gonna play that into OPO3 and hopefully win some packs and stuff. That'll be fun. Nefalshni, it copies spells you cast from exile. Okay, well, we'll have to look at that. Manavolt, maybe? Manavolt, sure. Hi, Pup Stomp, you're also here. Hi, Firebrand Archer, Kessick Flame Breather, Thermo Alchemist. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna add all the cards you're suggesting. I haven't started looking at pingers yet. We still need to assemble our land base, but I greatly appreciate the enthusiasm for the pingers. But Thermo Alchemist. But yes, these are all good pingers. I really like Firebrand Archer, but she just needs to be there. Gix Yawgmoth Praetor can be spicy, but not a fan of giving opponents card draw. Yeah, no, I get that. Definitely get that. So I'm really just looking for lands that damage. Or you know, they could say lose life. But let's look at this really quick. And you've already mentioned some like Shivan Gorge. Deals 2 damage to target creature or player. That's excessive, isn't it? Blighted Gorge deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Now we don't want to sacrifice. It deals 1 damage to target attacking creature. Nope. Nope, deals 1 damage to you. Yeah, we already put that in the list though. I think we might have hit all of them though, folks. Unless there's that MDFC still. Again, I think it's called Needle Drop. Spike Hazard? 1 damage to any target. If a permanent dealt damage this way would be die this turn, exile it instead. So the reason I like Spike Field Hazard, and I know it's silly it's a tapped land, right? I mean, it's just a good way to get that top deck card at instant speed. If we used a top deck tutor, we had the Sensei's Divining Top, and we just need to go into it and we don't want to lose the top or something, it's kind of cool. Shivan Gorge is obviously better. I think there's probably just better things than Spike Field Hazard. Sulphurous Spring, we're going to put Sulphurous Spring in there anyways. So Sulphurous Springs. Leech-ridden Swamp is a good land. Oh, that's the one where they lose life, right? Let's just do life. And Leech-ridden Swamp should pop up in here. But yes, I do know which one you're talking about. We also need to put our fetch lands. This is the constant struggle with me. I will never commit to memory all of the fetch lands. It's just never going to happen. So you're going to see me go between these two screens as I get those really quick. It won't be too long, I promise. Wait. Oh, Leech-ridden Swamp. There's the one. Each opponent loses 1 life. So does this technically count towards... Does this technically count towards this thing? Hold up. I just want to look at them really quick. What do you mean Commander Tower? Oh, you do have a point tapped out. You do have a point. Whenever one or more opponents loses exactly 1 life. Yeah, that doesn't disrupt the phrasing of that card. Leech-ridden Swamp. I also think Leech-ridden Swamp is a swamp, right? Like, can't I tutor it with a fetch land? Yeah, that's really cool. Just getting that right online. That's so good. Yeah, good call. Thank you for that. Bonus points. Who said that? Omen Blood. Bonus points. Key player. VIP. Thank you. Am I going overboard with the flattery? Can you guys hear my cat dying over there? This guy, anytime he doesn't get attention for small windows of time, he'll just yowl. So maybe you'll hear him. There's only Remnant Runes and Valakut left. Does this deck already have Mana Barbs or Burning Earth? No, and so no, it doesn't, and it needs them. I really hope that they don't go too far up in price. I mean, they're so niche, like they're really just for this deck. So I don't see these going up in price, but go ahead and buy them anyways before they do. They'll creep up a little bit, I imagine, once the set releases. But we want those, and there was another one that was suggested. When your opponents draw cards, it's triple black. When your opponents draw cards, they lose a life for each card they've drawn. Obviously, and it hits first card per turn. So that card is really good. If you all know what that is, let me know. But we're going to look that up and use it because that's obviously good. Thank you, Tree Bongos, for subscribing. I honestly miss a lot of these subscribers. It goes without saying, if you subscribe when I'm on stream, thank you. I appreciate that. But Shivan Gorge or that desert land. We put Mount Doom in, and yes, it is preemptive, but we will be using Mount Doom ultimately, so just put it in the list, people. You want it, okay? I should put P Vista in, Prismatic Vista. It needs to be a basic, right? Yeah, it does with that. Scalding Tarn, yes. Any thoughts on having Aristocrat sub-theme? Most of the key cards drain for exactly 1 life whenever a creature dies. I get what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know that I want to go with an Aristocrat sub strategy here. I feel like it'll flood the card with too many cards that aren't necessarily a part of the main strategy, which we can discuss in just a second. Honestly, like we can decide what makes the most sense, because again, I hate saying it, but in this world we currently live in, if you can run Underworld Breach and make it a part of your strategy, you just do. I hate that fact, but it's a very sound strategy, just playing Underworld Breach. So I feel like that should be the sub-strategy. Again, not that I'm in love with it, but I think that that's the route we should go, because it just makes sense. And I'm sorry if I missed the desert you were speaking about. I think I got the 2 lands, though, that do damage. And of course, we can just, at this point, I'm just going to add Swamp and Mountain. Obviously, any other utility lands that you think make sense for this deck, please put them in. But we're going to go ahead and just add these and put us at 28 lands is the general amount I would recommend for a cEDH list. And we don't know the exact count yet, but we can probably say split down the middle, despite us having the Leech-ridden Swamp is just purely a swamp. But that should be, if I did my math correct, 28 lands. Okay, so here are the cards we've added. There were suggestions for Mana Barbs, right? And Mana Barbs is great. Whenever a land is tapped for mana, Mana Barbs deals 1 damage to that player. So, wow, amazing. Old card, getting a lot of great use out of this new card. It's amazing how some of these cards don't really find, I mean, this is probably a fine card in some decks, but like this hasn't found its value in Commander ever. And now it's just brilliant. And then same thing with Burning Earth, except it's non-basic, same cost, sadly. So it's not as flexible, but odds are likely they're going to be tapping non-basics. But just bear in mind, this is not going to do as much as Mana Barbs does. Right, that's a good card. It doesn't need to tap for mana, by the way. So I guess if they tap it for another effect, you wouldn't get anything. But we have Prosper Tomebound in here as a sub-strategy for the deck, as was suggested. Sensei's Divining Top, Prosper Tomebound, any sort of ping effect, and then your leader, talking like it's One Piece, your commander will do the rest of the work. But what I want to do is life loss each opponent, damage each opponent, life loss each opponent, right? And I just want to see what we have. But the more obvious one is damage opponent, right? And we're gonna go boop boop. And yes, I want to stick to permanence, but I kind of just want to see what else is in the space outside of permanence, because there might be some other things that we would want to include. We're not going to include anything that sacrifices itself. So is this the desert? Yeah, I don't want to sack it to have the effect. Mordai says hello. But on the Aristocrat sub-strategy, I don't hate the idea. I think that is definitely a route you can go, though, if you want. Okay, what do you think of damage increase effects like Torbrand, etc., City of Fire, Fire Emancipation, Zabimaru? I would say, because the main goal, it's like we don't necessarily need to increase the damage unless we're trying to go a slower route. I would say if we went like a very slow, stacks-laden route where we're really just leveraging the exile off the top to put more hate on the field, at that point I would maybe suggest, sure, like have your pingers do a lot more damage, and then you're going for a grindy strategy where you're damaging out the board consistently every turn and just using that value. It just hurts that, you know, our leader really cares that it's exactly 1 life, right? So the damage increase does affect that, but you could do that on top of a, you know, once you have your board set, you can do that to help ping out the board. But the thing is, if we're trying to win with some sort of infinite line, then it isn't quite necessary we increase the amount of damage, because 1 damage infinitely will be enough, right? But it's not even that we're relying on up until we get all will be 1, right? Which I don't even think I added. We're going to go over here and add all will be 1, because we've definitely talked about it. But I mean, I don't hate it. Like, again, it really depends on the route you want to take the deck. Add Blister Spit Gremlin. I think this is one of our, I believe this is one of our pingers. And I'm just going to say yes. And yes, Keteric Parasite. Please, Keteric Parasite. And Sokenzan Crucible of Defense. Is this a, I don't know what that is. I'll have to look at that. But if you guys have not seen this card, oh my, wait, it'll probably come up, as a matter of fact. It's this weird black, like dog hound thing. I'm gonna look it up. It's a really cool card though. and I love this suggestion. You need to control a red permanent for it to work, if this is what I'm thinking of. Yes. Whenever an opponent draws a card, if you control a red permanent, you may have Keteric Parasite deal 1 damage to that player. Oh, so gross. It's so good. 100% Pub Stomp. Thank you. But let me look at Crucible. Well, no, I'm not. I'm trusting you, okay? It's a trust game. That's part of this game. It deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. So it's 1 or more. So pinging everyone at once isn't necessarily important here. Although, you know, like most of these effects, they just ping everyone at once because it's only 1 damage, right? Deals 1 damage to each opponent, each creature plays under control. So you can kind of consider effects like this in this list, and that's my thought. Because these effects, it does 1 damage, it does the trigger on Ob Nixilis. We clearly want repeatable effects that do this, but is it bad to incorporate effects that just do this every once? There's probably no space for it, but I do like the idea. Deals 1 damage to each of your opponents and each planeswalker they control. Does that once. Whenever you cast your next creature spell, enters the battlefield, additional +1/+1. Okay. Creature deals damage, source would die, exile, and it's that's not good enough. You and target opponent each flip. Nope. Remove an oil counter. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Sawblade Scamp. Okay. Remove an oil counter, deals 1 damage to each opponent. So that's a little bit of a weaker one, but I'll put Sawblade Scamp in for now. And again, I don't know all the pingers. We had a whole list running as we discussed these cards during our coverage of the Aftermath, which I think is probably concluded at this point. I want to actually buckle down and do some proper deck techs for you guys so you can start brewing list on your own. But yeah, enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage to each opponent, create a blood token. I don't think blood token's anything we want. Okay, wow. But chat is moving a mile a minute, which is good. Thanks for your thoughts. Sorry I'm late to the party. Somehow I always arrive late to your streams. That's okay. I actually started early Bloodblade, and hey, it's going really well. Is the Reaper King possible as a cEDH deck? He probably, I don't know. Isn't he in all 5 colors? I'm sure you could do something there. Mana Barbs is fantastic with Torbrand. Festering Evil could be a good card. Dockside has a power of 1, not a busted card at all. Right. You know, it's so not busted that I might just sideboard it for now. No, we'll put Dockside in. Okay, so we're getting to some cards we're familiar with. Whenever you cycle another card, nope. At the beginning of your upkeep, Bloodsucker deals 1 damage to each opponent. You gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. At the beginning of your upkeep, huh? Creeping Bloodsucker. Sure. I'm going to stop as soon as we hit 3. Because anything too far over that, I'm a little iffy on, outside of like the Mana Barbs of the world and the draw damage effects of the world. But I'm with you. I'm with you, people. Roiling Vortex. I think Roiling Vortex does the thing again. Luxury Suite. Oh, thank you. Yes, so the mana base, I'll say right off the bat, is not optimized. Go ahead and fix that up yourself. I just want to get into the meat and potatoes of the list. We're going to take out one of our mountains, probably, for their luxury suite. Festering Evil could be a good card. I'll look it up. At 5, it's a little rough. During your upkeep, it deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. Sacrifice it. So I think that there's just better by way of the consistent damage, like the one we just looked at. Like this Creeping Bloodsucker, it sort of just does the thing we want. Also, that's a Belby card. Oh no, I'm not gonna do that again. Whenever you cast instant or sorcery, deals 1 Electrostatic Field. I'm gonna say is probably the weakest of the lot. I don't know if Electrostatic Field is gonna pop that much. I really don't. But we're gonna put it there anyways. When it enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, Gibbering Fiend. Did someone suggest this? I feel like someone might have suggested a fiend. I don't know if it was a Gibbering Fiend. I'll put Immolation Shaman in for now. I think I know which one that is, but if it's, you know, a dud, we're going to remove it. Okay. What about Delayed Blast Fireball? Delayed Blast Fireball. Well, I'll tell you what I think about that in just a second. It's a maybe. I put Kessig Flame Breather in already. Oh, we haven't put Reckless Fireweaver. Okay. We will put Reckless Handling in while I'm looking at it. And Gamble, just because I'm here, and Demonic Tutor, Imperial Seal, Vampiric Tutor, Wishclaw, Talisman. This is some of the obvious ones, and then the Diabolic Intent. What's the other one? Okay. We want those for sure. At the beginning of your player's upkeep deals 1 damage to him. Okay. So Roiling Vortex, I think we added. Right? It was suggested, and it's right there. Okay. I'm sorry I'm missing all you guys are making a lot of really good suggestions. Sorry if I'm missing anything. Wow, Grape Shot is some spicy tech for this commander, huh? It could be. Does damage amplification doublers shut down Ob's effect? James, it does, because he needs to do exactly 1 damage. It's very weird. He demands that you use pingers precisely. It's very funny. Reckless Fireweaver I just put in. I did not put in Sardinian Avenger? Even with my glasses, I have a tough time. Okay. Are we building a Storm deck? I mean, technically, I guess you could say it's Storm. I mean, we're going to be pulling through our deck quickly and casting a lot of spells and trying to get those ping triggers as often as possible. It's a Storm deck, right? So we're going to want to put Rite of Flame. We're going to want to put Desperate Ritual. We're going to want to put... It's weird, but Simian Spirit Guide is not very good if it gets exiled, but we're going to put Simian Spirit Guide. We're going to put Pyretic Ritual. We'll put Seething Song. We'll put Jeska's Will. We'll put Dark Ritual. We'll put Cabal Ritual. We're probably going to want to roll with, so far as other... Culling the Weak, I think makes sense. I don't think Sacrifice... The Burnt Offering, maybe? At a certain point, depending on what we're doing, I could see Burnt Offering go for our commander, but that feels rough. But it's red or black in any color, and you know, we don't necessarily need our commander to win the game if we just go for an Underworld Breach loop into a Grape Shot. All right, we can add Grape Shot in this color. Genuinely, I would say that Aetherflux Reservoir is better. Maybe we do that. I'm probably going to cut the card, the Burnt Offering I just added. But if you don't know what that is, you sacrifice a creature and then you produce red or black mana equivalent to its casting cost or its mana value. Mayhem Devil. This is the one where if they sacrifice a permanent, they take a damage, right? So that's treasures, that's fetch lands. That seems good. Pyrohemia is an interesting enchantment. We can put Pyrohemia in. I think that we're going to have like a lot of redundant pingers. And what's going to be important at this point is just to have a hand of 1 to 2 to 3 of those things, because it's going to guarantee you pull into more of your list. And sometimes, like if we have too many of those pingers, it's not going to be entirely relevant that we exile anymore and cast them. We'll probably see them and ignore them, because at a certain point, we're just going to hit a critical mass of them to where we're going to want to start storming and not thinking about wasting our resources on casting them. And I say wasting, that's not a true waste. Obviously, they're very good to this list, but at a certain point, we're going to want to actually go for some core cards. So Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Jeweled Lotus gets full use here. We're going to do Lotus Petal. Honestly, Mox Amber in this list isn't bad. Like, it's obviously not going to get extreme value early on, but I could see us using it. Mox Opal. I could see us using Mox Amber to some effect, but I'm going to keep it out for now, just because I think there's probably enough without it. Normally, you reserve it to decks that are like your commander's 0 to 2 CMC, right? So like Rogrek to whatever. Here, because we're so reliant on our commander, I can see it being active all the time, but it's not absolutely essential. I don't care for the mana fixing of like an Arcane Signet I do care for the mana ramp of a Grim Monolith, and I think that's probably just fair right there. With the Underworld Breach, so we didn't really talk about it, but Underworld Breach, Grinding Station, Dockside Extortionist, those are the things that are going to help us go through our library. So let's just say that we have Underworld Breach down, it's resolved, and then we cast Dockside Extortionist from our graveyard or from our hand, wherever, from exile in this deck. And then we generate, let's say, 7 treasures. Our Grinding Station's already out. That's part of the combo, you should have it out. So it gets 7 triggers. You're going to sacrifice all of the treasures you can do without. So let's just say you sacrifice half of them, and then you keep the other half and you mill yourself to get to the other cards you need. Lion's Eye Diamond in this deck is really going to be there to dump your hand, but again, it's also just ramp. I don't think this is not the deck where you're going to Lion's Eye Diamond to get your cEDH out, right? You're not going to Lion's Eye Diamond to get your Ob Nixilis out, but we still do want it for that Underworld Breach line of play. I will state though, it is rough in circumstances where your opponent's like, I'm gonna Praetor's Grasp, oh, I need LED, and you're like, oh god, I use one, oh, you were right to pick me. But it does make sense. It's almost an obvious choice, but it's not a bad choice. Jirapur Ether Grid. So I think we're probably getting there here. So let me just go down the menu. Hedron Detonator. Okay, so I don't think I've heard of this. Aha. Did I spell it wrong? Detonator. Yes, I did. Hedron Detonator. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, Hedron Detonator deals 1 damage to each target opponent. Excuse me. Sacrifice 2 artifacts out of the top of your enemy. Play that card this turn. So, yeah, I mean, like, obviously, if you play Dockside Extortionist into this, those are all separate triggers. It's not one or more. It's whenever an artifact enters the battlefield. So, like, if you did this and you can get a bunch of separate triggers, I think it's maybe just too cute, but very good. Like, obviously, I don't know how many other artifacts we're going to be rolling with, like, how many we have total, to where I'm going to want to wait on my Mana Vault cast for this guy to be out. It's not bad, though. Let me just put this on the sideboard for now. Let me put it on the sideboard. And then we'll look at the rest of these pingers. Again, I want to go up to 3. Do we already have End the Festivities? End the Festivities in the deck? No. But I'll add it for now. And then we can look it up later. I'll look it up later. I forget what Rakdos Charm does. Chandra's Ignition when Obi gets huge. I don't know what that does. Ingenious. Is it good? Should we? I'll put Ingenious. That just sounds good. So I'll put that in the deck for now. Goblin Sharpshooter is interesting. It is. It's slow, but so are some of our other pingers. I'll put in Goblin Sharpshooter for now. I mean, there are combos for Goblin Sharpshooter. I don't think we're going to aim for them, but they do exist. Brimstone Trebuchet. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Whenever a knight enters the battlefield, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Day and night. I don't even want to think about how day and night cycles work, because it's nothing I've ever dealt with, and I just don't care. If it's a good card, though, you know, let me know. But I don't want to think about it. I really don't. Oh, there's the Artillerist. Whenever one or more artifacts enters the battlefield under control, and it's the same thing as the Detonator. It's the same thing. I think we've got enough that work by and by, like very well by themselves. Surkara the Bold as a backup. I remember the green legendary Surkara the Bold. Let's just look at it together though. Whenever instant or sorcery you control deals damage to a player, exile the top card of your library and play that card this turn. Not quite as good, Surkara, and 5 CMC is just a little high for me. I don't want to ever be tapped out on off turn, rather. Also, Ob Nixilis' trigger isn't a mana ability. You will lose a lot of recourses if you go way too heavy with the pingers. Yeah, we're definitely gonna narrow down the amount of like effective pingers to cute pingers to situational pingers. in just a moment. I think the goal is just to get all the pingers out, because really the rest of the deck makes itself. I think we can kind of all agree, like, we know the general direction of this list. I think we'll be good. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, untap Nettle Drone, it does 1 damage to each opponent. So what I like about this is that, you know, it's doing the same thing as the Artillerist, or it's doing the same thing as the Detonator, but it's controllable on or off turn. And I'm not going to say I like this more than them, but I think it's almost doing the same thing. Cast is different than, you know, enters the battlefield, I think is what the other one said. Pain Distributor. Whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, they create a treasure token. Right. Did we say how this could be a double-edged sword for us? I don't think we're going to use it. But the Pauper's Cage. If the Pauper's Cage did 1 damage, maybe we would use it. But we're not. We're not. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, deals 1 damage to each opponent. Tunneling Geopede. Did anyone say that? Bonus points to you, because I like that. Tunneling Geopede. I obviously don't miss your land drop, but your fetch lands trigger it twice, and that's pretty dope to me. That seems pretty dope to me. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Witty Roast Master deals 1 damage to each opponent. That seems okay. That seems okay. Whenever this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Whenever an opponent draws their first card each turn, your 3 CMC Zerzoth, whenever an opponent draws their first card each turn, if it's not their turn, you create a... too situational. Rakdos Charm. Exile target graveyard, destroy artifact. Each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. The Unfiltered Gamer. The answer is... Well, not... You didn't even ask. No. Yes, you did. You did. The Unfiltered Gamer. The answer is yes. I like Rakdos Charm. If I can spell it right. Quite a bit. I actually like this quite a whole lot. I think that sounds dope. Because it's the individual instances, but it's all happening at an instance. So whenever 1 or more damage, right? Is that... We'll have to look at Ob Nixilis again. Regardless, it does the trick, and it's a good modal spell to just have on the list. It's one of the better modal, like, guild charms. Spitfire Lagak is Geopede 2.0. Oh, there's another. There's another, you say. Let's look at Spitfire. Spitfire, Geopede, yes, no, Lagak. You did spell it that way. Oh, nope. Oh, Spitfire. Am I doing this wrong? Is it not Spitfire? Spitfire, Lagak. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, it's just 4 as opposed to 3. So I'm gonna sideboard it for now. Spitfire Lagak. But I like it. Sardian Avenger, I think, is in. I just took you guys on your word and I just slammed it. So we're gonna see if it's good or not. Saw in half, yeah. See now, well, okay. Saw in half we're not really doing a reanimator thing yet. Attacking with creatures with a power of 1 also triggers Kingpin, says Jonathan, and it's true. It does. Disciple of the Vault seems good, and I think you're right. So there's a whole category of pingers we haven't even gotten to yet. We did not get to life loss pingers, right? So this is whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may have a target opponent lose 1 life. So odds are likely that treasures will be a-flying, and we're going to get something out of Disciple of the Vault, if not necessarily from us, because it doesn't care whose artifact went to what graveyard. You just get the trigger. Honestly, I think it's good enough. It's making a lot of assumptions, but I think even if it's just us, like we have the other one that's similar, the Mayhem Devil in the deck. I think that this is gonna do the same thing. And in case you're wondering, yes, treasures hit the graveyard, and then as a state-based action, they will go away. But I do want to do one last thing, and that was to look at life. And not even each opponent, but we're going to keep it at each Because technically, we could do the same thing with some of the tech that's in Belby. Like whenever she becomes tapped, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. That's also doing the thing. But the one that I really want to look at with you guys, I want to look at draw damage. Because this is one thing that's guaranteed to always happen. So we've looked at Kedrick Parasite. I don't like those as much because they're slow. I think that the red damage ones are generally better. There's your Needle Drop, by the way. I like this as a spell. It's not what I thought, though. I thought it was an MDFC. Whoops. I'm just going to skip to it. There's a black card. I just forget the name. Underworld Dreams. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Underworld Dreams does 1 damage to that player. So I think Underworld Dreams might be one of the last ones we add, and then we can sort of look at the rest of this list together. But before we continue, let me save this out, see how many cards we have. Underworld Breach isn't a card, you say? Is not a card. I did find Underworld Dreams just right there. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna refresh this page. Okay, so let me go ahead and read over some of the comments I've missed. Is it more important to have ETB pingers to keep digging while we're storming off, or consistent upkeep pingers to dig us towards a storm setup? I would say if I'm evaluating them, I think that this list, like by virtue of its commander, is maybe a little... Because like he himself does not draw cards. Like it's not putting Tymna down and then the next turn attacking, draw cards. It does rely on other things doing the thing for you to draw cards. So by virtue of that fact, it's like 2 cards or more in some instances to really get the ball rolling on the strategy. More consistency with pingers that just do it at regular intervals. Although I think it's going to be a mix that ultimately makes the list. Let's go here. I know I missed a few. Do you have infinite mana combo? Flamekin Spitfire can ping, but if you have infinite mana, it's a finisher as well. I think we've not added Flamekin Spitfire, but I can look at it really quick and we can talk about it. Flamekin Spit. Deals 1 damage to any target. Yeah, it could be an outlet. I don't think we'll need it, but there will be instances. Well, we don't need infinite mana for this deck to win, but there are instances where we potentially could make enough mana and win the game. Hissing Miasma for some off-turn shenanigans. And I'll read that really quick. Hissing Miasma. Vicious Rumors, Conqueror's Flail. I think Conqueror's Flail is interesting, for sure. Whenever a creature attacks you, its controller loses 1 life. Wow. You're just saying, don't attack me, bro? Cold coffee. I love it. I don't know about Hissing Miasma, but it's got cool art. Here, I'll show you. Definitely has cool art. Sometimes that's enough. So Conqueror's Flail, in case you guys are wondering, it's sometimes featured in some Godo decks. But the idea is, once you do it, it essentially makes your creature, once you've attached it, that is, your creature almost like a Grand Abolisher. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Grand Abolisher does a little bit more. I'm not sure I want to run a sub strategy with it. It's a little high setup. I could see someone spoiling my day by, like, I cast Conqueror's Flail, right? Like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna move to equip. Any responses? Yes. Yes, I have a response. Yes. Swords to Plowshare. I'm gonna turn that farmer into a soldier, into a dead one. Right? We don't want that to happen to Obby Wobby. So we have a lot going on here. The main combo line, in case you're wondering, is All Will Be One. It's a 2-card, 3-card combo with the deck. Basically, Pinger, our leader. I'm gonna just keep saying leader instead of commander. And then obviously All Will Be One. The other thing we can do with this is, if you haven't seen this combo, if for some reason there's a Drannith Magistrate or Ob Nixilis is otherwise unavailable to us, Quest for Pure Flame. Yes, we want the purest of flames. Well, if you read ignore the bottom half of this card, just ignore it. Whenever a source you control deals damage to an opponent, you may put a quest counter on quest for the pure flame. And if you look at all will be one, well, whenever one or more counters are put on a permanent or player, all will be one will deal that much damage to target opponent, yada, yada, yada. Opponent, counter, opponent, counter, opponent, counter, opponent, counter. Right? It's a good redundancy for the deck. I think we might just add quest for the pure flame. We might just have it as like a side option, right? Because at least I know that I could just search for this. Like if for some reason he gets shut out and then someone, and it's not like Underworld Breach isn't an accessible strategy because someone Praetor's Grasp it. I know that I can tutor up my quest for the pure flame and still go off with all will be one with all of my pingers. Like that is to me, right, when we were suggesting buy earlier, and again, not that it's a bad idea, but the aristocrat line of play, right? Instead of doubling down on some of the effective cards that go into that, instead I would rather have a redundancy for Ob Nixilis so that if one fails, I'll have the other with all will be one. And then if push comes to shove, we're going to go for Ether Flux Reservoir Underworld Breach. And that's the other line of play after an ad nauseam. That's right, people. That's right. Get used to it. It's disgusting and it's here to stay. Okay, Impact Tremors. I see Swifter. Impact Tremors is whenever a creature enters the battlefield, right? We've got 19 creatures, so that's a pretty high probability, right? Impact Tremors is low to the ground. It's cheap. There's this art I keep forgetting, and I really need to buy a copy. It's just so good. I could see us sideboarding it for now. Because it feels a little situational to me. But if we find ourselves casting a lot of creatures, then yeah, then I think Impact Tremors is probably going to see more play than we realize. Strike It Rich. Pyro, yes. So Strike It Rich, I'm a little iffy on. If the idea is that it just goes in because it plays well with some of our pingers, then yeah, I get that, right? So it's 1 for 1. You basically go net even. It's not as good as like, you know, Mana Morphos or something. You're not like fixing mana and replacing itself. You're getting to create a treasure, right? So this triggers any of our artifact ETB effects that are sideboarded for now, or triggers any of the pingers that care about this to untap. So it's not a bad idea. Strike It Rich in this deck. Strike It Rich by itself is bad unless you're storming. But we do want some interaction, and I think Imp's Mischief is always a favorite of mine. I think we're in Bolt Bend territory with Ob Nixilis, right? He's a 4/3, right? And then Bolt Bend is a redirect. Yep. Bolt Bend is a redirect if there's 4 greater power. So I'm going to do Bolt Bend. I'm going to do Deflecting Swat, even better. We're going to do Red Elemental Blast, right? We're going to do Pyro Blast. Because you got to have, if you have one, you got to have the other, you know? Okay, we're gonna do Fork, we're gonna do Reverberate, because I think copy effects are the best effects in the game, just above counter. Hot take. There are some counters that will just trump any sort of copy effects. But I really like copy effects, and I think they're under leveraged, and I'm gonna bring them back. We're gonna do it. So, I know it's really boring, but since so much of our deck is low-cost pingers, is Adnos kind of like a free roll here? Oh, no, buy. Yeah, we just added it, and I think my sentiment on it is the same as yours. Yes. Like, if you're in these colors, your deck is low to the ground, if the strategy doesn't employ big dumb things, right? Like your leader, okay, yeah. If your leader doesn't hyper depend on big dumb things, then you just run Ad Nauseam or PETA. We're just gonna run the 1, but yeah. Rolling Vortex is in, Goblin Bombardment is not, and that doesn't mean it can't be. Acidic Soil on the list, says Danny H. 8. Oh, look at this art. Oh, that's so good. Phyrexia had tried to take Urza's soul. He was relieved that Shiv tried to claim only his souls. Acidic Soil deals 1 damage to each player for each land he or she controls. It is a sorcery speed spell for that one-time finger-looking good exile effect. I don't think it's the best in that regard. Someone actually made a suggestion earlier that was better. I hate to say it, but it is vicious rumors. damn, Cowboy Bebop. Gotta rewatch that. But this does the 1 damage. It does the thing. They all mill a card. They all discard a card. Like, it's good generic value at the 1 CMC slot. I think that is slightly better. Because it doesn't require much of us and then it still replaces itself, right? I'm not going to put it in the list, though. I do want just a little bit more interaction. I think we do need some removal spells. So give me your best Rakdosian removal spells. Deadly Rollick. Did we just get a new piece of removal in Rakdos? Exile. Hold on. Okay. We want Fire Covenant, and we might want Toxic Deluge as another one. But I don't think beyond those. I feel like in my heart of hearts there was a new instant speed spell that's good for this list. Am I crazy? I don't know. I only review these things. Excel target creature with mana value of 3 or less. Anyway, give me one more good removal spell, or one that you like in Rakdos, and then let me know if that's something you would want to go with. REB versus Pyroblast. Yes, we've held this conversation on the channel. If you follow, I was going to say the 99. If you follow Local Game Guy, then you've seen potentially the community post. There's a lot of art-centric ones now because I just want to have more conversations about the art of this game. But yeah, REB versus Pyroblast. There are some differences between those two spells. Is Urabrosk in the list? No, it is not. Isochron Scepter? It's not. But it could be. Underhanded Designs. Is that an actual card? Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under control, see, this is maybe just a little bit slower, a little bit more cost prohibitive than the other ones that were suggested. No offense. The Meat Hook Massacre. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this card. Oh my gosh. Enters the battlefield, each creature gets -X until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you gain 1 life. Huh. I mean, I would hate to... This is a cool wipe, and obviously our butt ain't that big. He's a 4/3, so if we want to go the 3 to like get rid of a... I feel like this might harm more than help, but then it's doing better than Toxic Deluge, right? Well, I mean, he'll be dead by the time this might work. So all those instances of creatures dying, like this, so this is what, I'm sorry, you guys can't see this card. All those instances of creatures dying, they all happen simultaneously, right? So it's only going to trigger them once. I do like Meat Hook Massacre though. I like it because it's a good redundancy, provided we're just clearing the board of lower cost things. I'll put it in. I don't hate it. I don't know if it's going to stick, and you guys can let me know. Obviously, again, this is just a blueprint. Dismember kills Crom. Yeah, definitely add a Braid, right? Wasn't there just a better Braid? Didn't we just get something that's just strictly better than a Braid? In red. Because a Brade is a generic and a red, right? Volcanic Spike does 3 damage. No, that's not it. I know we got something that amounts to being essentially a better Abrade, and I just want to see what it is. I could be wrong, but I swear to you. Deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker? No, different triggers. No, they are different triggers, and Ob will be huge most of the time, so won't die. Oh, you know what, James? Thank you. You know, there's one element that I just keep neglecting to this whole package that is why it's so grossly effective, especially with board wipes, like our own board wipes, like the Toxic Deluge and the Meat Hook Massacre. And I keep forgetting because he gets +1/+1 counters. So, and to answer the age-old question, is this a Storm deck? It's the only way I've been seeing it. So I totally forgot that you're absolutely right. Like, he's getting +1/+1 counters. He's going to be grossly big. Like, it's not going to, he's going to live. You're totally right. I haven't even been considering it that way. But yeah, if Obviously, you could probably take out an opponent in a couple of turns if you wanted to, even though that's not necessarily the main strategy for the deck. It's just like, it's just a thing. It's just a thing in the deck. On top of the fact that you're getting gross value from playing this guy. So totally true. And thank you for just making that obvious. Cut down maybe a bit narrow on the cost ones. Rumors is better in this case. Yeah, definitely add a braid, right? So I'm trying to figure that out. Is Tybalt's Trickery in? I think I added it already. Am I a liar? Well, I thought I added it. I'm gonna add it now. Obviously we want Tybalt's Trickery. If there's two, we'll cut it. How about Wild Mage Surge Pestilence? I'll add a braid right now because I don't remember what the other one was. And I want to add Meltdown in case we need to burn. If you guys haven't seen Meltdown, it's a card I always recommend. It's one I always tell people to buy. It's one of my all-time favorite cards. Oh, I need to spell it correctly. But I find it to be one of the better artifact destruction tools in the kit. And they've gone up. Wow. Okay, cool. People are finally discovering it. I mean, I've owned copies of this card for years. I actually have a full, I had someone alter it to just do the full scene of like this molten volcano. But you pay X and then destroy X artifacts, destroy each artifact with a total mana cost of X or less. So essentially, this is a great way to just burn through everything, provided your board doesn't care. But mass artifact removal can really be potent against certain stacks list. And then obviously, Fire Covenant will cover everything else. Question for the chat. Does acidic soil trigger each time? So that's kind of what I want to look into. Peer into the Abyss, or you find some prisoners. Peer into the Abyss. So we could probably make the land-based where Tainted Pack would work, and we can use it as another tutor. Peer into the Abyss, I'm not as high on, but I think you could certainly use it in the list. And then you find some prisoners. So this is one that's always suggested. I'm curious as to whether, destroy target artifacts or exile the top 3 cards of your opponent's library. Choose one of them. Till the end of your next turn, you may play that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. This is an interesting one. I don't know if I want it here. I evaluate this card highly. I don't know if other people do still, but I've always liked Direfleet Daredevil. If you are in need of a tutor, although in Rakdos it's maybe not as heavily regarded, I can understand why. We have all the tutors in the world, but this is a good way to exile a utility from our opponent. Like before their Underworld Breach turn, if you exile that demonic tutor, it really does shut them down. But I like this card a lot just in the body. We didn't add Ragavan either. It almost feels like an absolute must, but again, we can cut it if we want. But I do think Ragavan is a 1 damage boyo, right? No, he's 2/1. That's okay. We'll still add him. That's not a good card. I tried this deck. It's mana hungry. Hey, bro, Wild Mage, Magic Surge. Sorry. I do not mean to be ignoring you, Blood Blade. Wild Magic Surge. Destroy target permanent opponent controls. Its controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a permanent that shares a type with the card. Okay. They put that card in the battlefield and rests on the bottom of their library. So imagine if you hit their Mystic Remora and it goes right into their Rhystic Study or something like that. How sad would you be? I think it's really cool. I think it's awesome at instant speed. I think it could really bite you in the butt. I like the fact it hits lands. I kind of wish we could use it to cycle our own stuff, but obviously you can't get everything. I don't hate it, but I'm gonna avoid it for now. Tybalt's Trickery is enough. Praetor's Grasp is in the deck. Opposition is not in the deck. We could put Opposition Agent in the deck, and then I think we should cut some cards together. How about that? But guys, again, this list is a blueprint for you. I want you to take it and obviously optimize the land base and then make the best version of Ob Nixilis you can so that we can all be playing a better version of the deck. And feel free to share it in the comments if you do revise the deck. But Sensei's Divining Top is in here for a very particular reason. We have all the fast mana that is requisite for a dirty Underworld Breach strategy, but we've also got all the rituals in the world as well. and that includes Simian Spirit Guide. So none of these are going to go. All of these make sense. We're going to go to our sorceries. Thanks for checking it at least. So that's not a better abrade. I wonder what you were thinking. I don't know what I was thinking, but it came out a while ago, and I remember thinking like, oh, this just replaces abrade in most lists, and I cannot for the life of me rather tell you what that is. I don't hate that card though. Thank you for bringing it up. That's actually really cool. I would say it's maybe reserved almost solely to mono red because they need more removal, but the fact that it hits any permanent is so legit. Did people talk about Sardian Avenger? Someone suggested it and I added it. I swear to God I added it. There it is. Sardian Avenger. Sardian Avenger. Whenever Sardian Avenger attacks, it gets plus X plus O until end of turn, where X is the number of artifacts your opponents control. Whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to that player. So yes, there's a couple of things happening in this deck that function in the same way, right? So we have our Mayhem Devil. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, Mayhem Devil deals 1 damage to any target, right? So that's largely treasures, fetch lands, right? And then we have, there were a few suggestions, as a matter of fact, like these two. The Hedron Detonator and the Ingenious Artillerist. They both do essentially the same thing. I think we've got enough redundancy in that regard to where we're good, and I would even maybe suggest cutting the Sardian Avenger if we don't find the cut somewhere else. I understand, like it's gonna do the trick and probably often, but I think there are better things in the list, but we can weigh them out. Nadir's Nightblade. Did people talk about that? Nadir's Nightblade is Nad Knight. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. So same story. There's so many of these effects. It's funny how many of these effects exist for our commander. I don't think we need all of them. It's Wild Magic Surge. Billy Mays says, Chaos Warp is fine. Chaos Warp might even be better. Let's just look at these two. Chaos Warp. So this is sort of the tried and true up until now. Maybe everyone's going to be on the double red Wild Magic Surge. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into the library and then reveals cards, reveals the top card of the library. If it's a permanent card, they put it into the battlefield. So this isn't as damning because they're not just finding it. They're not just finding the replacement. But I do love how this functions. Again, I wish it hit our own stuff because then it would be really gross. Like we could, this would be the best reality scramble. You'd be like, okay, I don't want this Tevesh anymore. Let me just get out this WinCon. Whatever it is, it could be the teacher Liliana and your Golgari deck. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. Wild Magic Surge would have been busted if it was, destroy any target permanent, and not just ones your opponents control. Jessica's Will is in the deck. Blood Artist because it's opponent's creatures too. We're gonna look over all of our creatures. It sounds like there's an interest in looking over these now. So we're going to just pretend like all of these other things are great and deserve to stay. Pyrohemia deals 1 damage to each player. Why I like Pyrohemia is it's something we can trigger, right? So like we could just go Pyrohemia crazy if we want. I don't know if it's super good though. No, it's pretty dang good. Okay. So Prosper Tomebound, again, it's just a way to give us the mana. Like when we play a card from exile, which is going to be often, it's going to give us the treasures needed to continue the strategy, right? As someone was mentioning, this deck is mana hungry. I trust that that's true. Like just looking at this, yes, I trust that that's true. Goblin Sharpshooter is one that was suggested. I threw in just because, but it's a little slow. It doesn't untap during your untap. Whenever a creature dies, you can untap it as 1 damage to any target creature. I think that this is not necessarily a part of this strategy. Okay. We've got Tunneling Geopede. So whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, Tunneling Geopede deals 1 damage to each opponent. I like this a lot, but I don't think it's good enough. Pestilence better than Pyrohemia as it can't be... okay. Sorry. We'll look at Pestilence. And this was a suggestion earlier as well. So thank you for bringing it back up again. JK. So they're both, if I'm not mistaken, two generic rather, and double of their color. But Pestilence at end of turn, if there are no creatures in play, sacrifice Pestilence. Okay, so pretty unlikely. but it does 1 damage to each creature and each player. Ooh, I do like that added effect, right? Of each creature. I'm kind of ignoring that. At the beginning of your end step, if there are no creatures on the battlefield, sacrifice Pyrochyria. So they're saying it's better because it can't be blue elemental blasted. Right. Oh, thank you. Blue elemental blasted. I'm gonna agree, and I'm gonna put Pyrochyria on the side because I want to put Pestilence in. So ignore the fact that we're at 103, where we're technically at 104. Right. So opposition agent is fine. A Thermo Alchemist. Whenever you cast instant sorcery, untap Thermo Alchemist. Okay, so we've got 21, we've got 33. I think that's probably enough. Sardian Avenger is fine. I'm going to keep it for now. Reckless Fireweaver, good. Kessic Flame Breather, good. Immolation Shaman. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact, creature, or land that isn't a mana ability, deals 1 damage to that player. Well, that seems pretty good. Gibbering Fiend. Enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Okay, so on the trigger. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, there are 4 or more cards in your graveyard of a type, right? Then it does 1 damage to that player. Each part, that's pretty good. Right? It just cares about your graveyard? Yeah, that's pretty good. I love Firebrand Archer. She's a must. Whenever you cast instant sorcery, so same thing as Thermo Alchemist, except without the tappy on tappy business. And it's also a 0/4. It's kind of just better. Dockside Extortionist. Yeah, I've heard of that card. It seems pretty good. At the beginning of your upkeep, Creeping Bloodsucker deals 1 damage to each opponent. You gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. Right, so this is cute, and I think still playable. At the beginning of your upkeep, it's not as effective as the other ones, though. So I'm put it to the side, because we've got Sawblade Scamp. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Sawblade Scamp. Remove an oil counter from Sawblade Scamp. It deals 1 damage to each opponent. I think that Sawblade Scamp, it's going to go in and it's going to at least hit someone for 1 and give us the card, or it's going to sit there and just collect oil counters. The fact that it can only do it once every turn makes it a little worse than everything else. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you control a red permanent. Yes, we want that. Disciple of the Vault is the same story as a lot of our other artifact kind of matter effects when it comes to like things hitting the grave or so on and so forth. There's a couple of effects that are very similar in tone. It being 1 mana is great though. This deals 1 damage to each opponent for the cost of 1. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell on tap blistering. So I like this. It's definitely not the best of that effect, but it's certainly not the worst and deserves a spot. We need to cut 2 more cards though. So, would Necropotence work? I mean, yeah, yes. Necropotence always works. You know what's funny? So someone activates Necropotence. That triggers Ob Nixilis a lot. Right? So if someone's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go hard in on this Necropotence. I'm going to pay 1 life, pay 1 life, pay 1 life, exile time. You're like, oh shoot, okay. I'm going to exile the top of my deck. You match them on this, and your guy gets ridiculously big. Am I wrong? Like, I'm reading this right? Like, we might even just give our opponents Necropotence. Like, is there a way I can just let you play this really quick? You take it, and I'll take what I get. Yeah, that's really good. Obviously, Necropotence could work in this list. I'm not evaluating it. I would hate for it to distract from Plan A, but yes, obviously, you could just build the primo hand with Necropotence in it in the list. I would say that you could probably put Necropotence in here and it's a good idea. Let me just add the Pestilence. And I'll sideboard Necropotence for people that want to run it. I do think that it clearly has a spot in any black deck. I don't want to put it in here. Not to say that it's bad for the list, just that I don't think we're ever going to focus it. And if we happen to find it, I don't want to detract from Plan A. Because all the pingers we're going to be pulling into are pretty useless. outside of our main strategy here. So I'd rather we focus our dark rituals and stuff on that. But you could very easily play out a Necropotence game as well. You're fine. So it turns out there's just a few things that are a little bit better than Impact Tremor. So it's on the sideboard for now, but thank you for joining. I feel like Simian Spirit Guide is too unreliable with how much of this deck gets exiled. So I'm with you. I was thinking that it's probably going to be dead in a lot of instances, but it's still one of those effective ad nos cards that I feel like we should run it still. I don't think it's bad though. I don't think it's out for that reason yet. Copper Tablet is awesome, gets 3 per round. Hey Patrick, hey Super Tux. Copper Tablets. I think I know what you're talking about. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Copper Tablet deals 1 damage to that player. Wow! We definitely missed this one. Oh, we gotta get that alpha one too. Oh my gosh. Would you spend $500 for this? Probably not. Just get the collector's edition. Get the, unlimited edition. Sorry, it's white border. Yeah, we're gonna do Copper Tablet. Thank you for that. Copper Tablet's great. I think Leech Thing is a incident. I think the Leech Thing is a player for incidental life gain. If you look, there's a fair amount of cards that cost you life as well. Thank you for the Copper Tablet suggestion, by the way, Evine. And you know what? Just because you made such a good suggestion with Copper Tablet, Tabulate, I'm gonna assume that Flame Fusillade is equally as good. But we need to cut more cards now. Thank you very much. Okay, so, and I really want to test this list out with you guys. Again, I have to hard stop at 6:30, but that doesn't mean we can't have fun up until then. I'm very much enjoying this build so far. What the heck? Okay, there you go. I want to see the Fusillade now. Where is that? Where is it? What I like about Copper Tablet is it adds to our artifacts count, which is super, super relevant for Grinding Station Underworld Breach. Like, you need the artifacts to go to get the ball rolling on our strategy. Oh, I don't even know where Fusillade is. I guess we're just going to see it when we see it. Oh, until end of turn, permanents you control gain. This permanent deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Oh, that's interesting. Hold up. Hold up. Is there a way we can untap these things? So, like, after a Seething Song and you do this, like, all of your permanents, like your lands, I don't know, that seems pretty gross. I feel like this is going to be really good in the deck. Bontu's Monument could be all right. Bontu's Monuments. So this is the... It's the one that does damage, right? Whenever you cast a creature spell, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. I'm not relying on the creature casting ones too specifically, but it could definitely be something that's sideboarded for this list. But for now, let's cut 4 more cards. It's going to be tough. I really don't know what I want to cut. So I don't know that Simian Spirit Guide's dead. I do think that if we're forcing the ad nos more over anything else, it's probably still important. But for our purposes today, if our main strategy is Ob Nixilis and Pingers, I'm going to say that Simian Spirit Guide is maybe not as good. Particularly if it gets exiled, because casting it from exile is not something we want to do. And it does require us to exile it from hand. So for the mana effect, which is the only reason you run that card. In most cases, there are some like niche scenarios where you might like cast it in a food chain deck or something. But very rarely do you cast that creature. Okay, so all of the creatures in this deck are essential now. I'm just going to say it. Like, all those ones seem essential to me. We've cut all the ones we didn't want. Metabarb's Burning Earth, that seems like fine redundancy to me. Meathook Massacre is good in this list. Roiling Vortex. Quest of the Pure Flame is backup for our All Will Be One strategy. Underworld Breach is obviously its own package. There is a lot of high CMC things I'm just looking at here, and it looks like our curve... Okay, so 9 form CMC things, 9 3 CMC things. Okay, so the curve is still relatively low. I'm not too worried about our ad nos hitting any of these things, and I want all the redundancy we can get in the ping department. The ping department. Hello, this is the ping department. We're going to get rid of Burnt Offering. We're going to keep Ad Nauseam, Deadly Rollick, Bolt Bend, Deflecting Swat, yes. Fire Covenant, yes. Seething Song, yes. Abrade is good. Cabal Ritual, Desperate Ritual, Fork, Imp's Mischief, Pyretic Ritual, Rakdos Charm. Rakdos Charm is cute because it makes each creature deal 1 damage to its controller. Really good and can get out of hand against people that have massive board states. So like your Nagila decks, if they don't have the counter for it, it might just kill them. Right, if they saved you for last, like really sweet, really nice of them, you just murder them. And then I guess Winota or any other go wide strategy, whether it's with tokens or stacks and hate bears. Pyroblast, REB, Vampiric Tutor, Dark Ritual. Oh wow, all of those are good. Okay. Flame Fusillade. Is it too cute at 4 CMC? Good luck with cutting the rest. I gotta go. Have a good one. Thank you, Swifter, for all your suggestions, and I hope you enjoy the list once it's done. So this is always the toughest part, peeps. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that we're probably good without Reckless Handling, and we're probably good. I'm really eyeing that Flame Fusillade. I'm not gonna lie to you. Actually, end the festivities. We're gonna get rid of that before I get rid of Flame Fusillade. All right, that is it. It is time. I'm excited for this deck. I'm gonna drink a little bit from my cup of coffee over here. I'm gonna drink a whole cup of coffee, and then we're gonna try this out. What's your bet? What does Tapped Out think this is? Is it casual or competitive, folks? Does Tapped Out think that this probably grossly expensive deck with, what does it say? Oh, so from Card Kingdom, it's 3.8 to 4.8K. Or from TCG Player, you can buy this deck for 2.9 to 3.4K. Link in the description. Don't use the one. Don't use the one on the page. Don't use Obby Wobby. Use the other one. Yeah, buy $3,000 worth of card. I'd make like $30. Like I would make nothing out of that, really. It's not a good ratio on return. But do you think that it's predominantly casual or predominantly competitive? Let me know while I drink coffee. I personally feel Flame Fusillade is good enough to keep. The fact that it also affects your lands. I know. What a ridiculous card. And thank you again, Evine. Those 2 suggestions were gold. Really, Evine, thank you. Those are really cool. Rakdos Charm also fires back against someone trying to win with dual caster mage lines of play. Any of the Kiki Jiki, like, I'm gonna make 1 million of these and swing. And you're like, okay, sure. I'm gonna look at those 1 million creatures and have them attack you. Yeah, it's so funny. But okay, so if your guess was this was a casual deck, Tapped Out would agree with you. Tapped Out thinks this is 58% casual. All right, let's see if that's true or not. This is the most fun part of this deck construction, is the test. So again, this list is in the description if you want to check it out yourself and try it. I definitely recommend you go there and click on the link. It's going to be over on Tapped Out. It's very easy to copy these lists. You can actually just go down here and say copy, if I'm not mistaken, and or export it, and you can get like just a text document. So if you want to put it into whatever editor you use, let me know if you take this blueprint and make more of it. I would love to see your revised version of Ob Nixilis, or maybe we made the perfect version. Okay, so is this keepable? It's not very fast, but it does have Lion's Eye Diamond. We can, like I said, this is not the deck where you want to turn 1 Ob Nixilis off of a Lion's Eye Diamond, but we can. Or just proxy everything and it's just $30 from printing process if you outsource or good quality ones. Yeah. So I use a lot of proxies. In the not too distant future, I don't think I'm going to be allowed to use proxies. For the tournament I'm going to on June 18th, I'm not allowed to use proxies. Which is fair. Luckily, Alex, you may remember from Brew Wars, is letting me borrow a blue farm list. And I just want to see what I can do playing blue. I gotta say, not to be a brag, but every time I've borrowed blue from people, usually do pretty okay. Anytime I draft blue, usually do okay. Blue is one of those colors, I understand it, but I hate playing it in Commander. But I'm breaking my rule for this tournament on June 18th. I'm gonna break my rule. May, June. Yeah, it's June. It's next month. We're not going to keep this hand. We're not going to keep this hand. We're going to restart. Yes. Ooh, man. If it had a land, if it had anything going for it, it would have been okay. Going to go down to 6. We're not doing that shit. Oh my gosh. Oh, you know, sometimes you just get burnt. Did you watch my game on cEDH TV? God, did I get burnt. We're going to keep this, and we're going to keep the whole thing. But Sokuzen, Crucible of Defiance. Discard Sokuzen, Crucible of Defiance, create 2/1/1 spirit creatures. They have haste at the end of turn. Until end of turn, this ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. This one was recommended. I think it's okay. I'd probably put in some other land for this. You need to understand the things you hate to beat. Yeah. Understand the things you hate to beat them, unfortunately, which usually means you're great at them. I speak a mid-range player who dominates playing control. Yeah, so we'll play this. So for me, it's interesting. I don't really like, so you guys don't know this, but I've sold through a lot of my staples. Like I don't own a lot of my reserve list cards anymore. I only kept the cards that could play into, and I don't even own Null Rod anymore, as a matter of fact. But I kept all the cards I would play in Oswald, because that's the only deck I really, really enjoy playing. So I have Oswald Fiddlebender, and I have all the cards in that list, foiled out or otherwise, right? My Grim Monolith I had hand painted. Probably not the best choice for that card, as it was very expensive by itself, but it didn't matter. It's my Grim Monolith. So this tournament is for a Mishra's Workshop, and that's one of those cards I could have like just never make sense of buying. But this tournament's like $100 to enter. So I'm like, I could play my deck, probably do okay, because you're not allowed to use proxies in this tournament. Probably do okay. Or just do the thing that I've always said, like, I feel in my gut, if I just played one of the 4 to 5 color good stuff, draw in the command zone, grindy deck, I'd probably do okay. So I just want to just prove that to myself to see if that's true or not. I don't like Soguzan. That might even come in handy, but I'm going to get rid of it now. I just need to see if it's possible. Possible to win the game my own way with a blue deck. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Roiling Vortexes will damage it. Yeah, we're going to do that. So we'll just put that down. Just because it's not like a main priority for our opponents, and it's not immediately hittable like Reckless Fireweave or Blistering Gremlin, whatever. So we do that. This was not a great starting hand, mind you, but it was a starting hand. Oh my god. So okay. This is going very, very slow. Again, not the hand you want to start with. But if we're really realistically looking at this, we would have had to mull down to like a hand of 5 or something, or 4 in some situations. If we're mulling that aggressively, you might want to consider Wheel of Fortune for that very, very early game play, but not even. Like, it hurts if you're 3rd or 4th in priority. But we're not going to get to him yet. We have all the fast mana for him, but not him yet. We're going to put down these two. Yeah, we're just going to go. Yeah, just going to do it. We're just going to do it. Just going to do it. Why the hell not? Okay. Next turn. Sure, why not Shivan Gorge? Why not Shivan Gorge? Might as well have it on the battlefield. We're going to do this. Very slowly put down our leader. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under control, right. That's not happening. Roiling Vortex at the beginning of each player's upkeep. Well, we're going to get to do that every other turn. And then the Gremlin can go off, but not really. So not a great start. I just didn't want to go down any further. But so that's how the deck can play slowly. So let's do the imaginary, this is the best hand we're ever going to see play. Or we just start off with the dream hand. Wow, which we might have gotten here. Almost did. So this is a turn 2 with Gibbering Fiend. I think Mull should be for turn 2 Ob Nixie. Yeah, Drunk, I'm seeing that. It's not a very easy cast. Like, unless you have Jeweled Lotus in your starting hand, it's not a very easy cast to get to. But we'll keep this. It has 2 lands, and it has a lot of mana, and it has Sensei's Dividing Top, so we can at least figure out, you know, we can at least figure out what we're pulling into. I almost feel like we're probably going to go like this, and then look at the top 3. And if we determine that the top 3 are worth keeping, then we might just ignore the Bloodstained Mire, right? And then we can shuffle afterwards. Like, that's sort of the power of Sensei's Divining Top. So I do think that I will want Jessica's Will moving forward. But then we can fetch right after that. Maybe we draw that Red Elemental Blast as well. But that'll be our top deck for the next turn. Let's just go put this into play, take the damage. Yeah, that seems fair. right? The Cabal Ritual, I'm not really thinking too highly of right now. I kind of want to ping, draw cards, and then Ritual. Obviously, I want Burning Earth, though. We technically can't do anything else with this turn, though. So let's just go whoop. We'll do... We need the colored mana, sadly. So we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to do this. I mean, we could just do Jeska's Will, and then we could also just do Blood Crypt into Cabal Ritual, right? We could just do those two things. Like, it would be Cabal Ritual and then Jeska's Will, but that's not much mana by itself, and we're really not doing much as soon as we put down Gibbering Fiend, right? Well, it'll exile. Is this each instance? Let me read this again. Whenever one or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life. So if this comes into play, it's only going to trigger him once. Am I mistaken? You can correct me. What about the end of festivities for a ping? Prime Shifter, it just went into the maybe pile, right, for this list. It's in our sideboard, technically. But you can add it if you want. I would, again, say that Vicious Rumors is a better card in this instance. All right, so we're going to do this. Also, like... all their fetch lands just trigger Ob Nixilis. Am I mistaken? Whenever opponent loses exactly 1 life, yeah. Hey, how come a new short just came out? How come a new short just came out now? Probably because I queued it, but I should probably ignore it for now, though. Don't watch that. You don't want to watch that. I need to find the time to produce some more comical shorts that I enjoy doing. I haven't had a chance to sit and script those, but hopefully on the train ride or the taxi cab over to this place, I'll have a chance to get some idea out. No, I was just checking. I didn't know if you knew about it. We knew about it. Thank you, Prime Shifter. Yeah, we added it to the deck, and then we sideboarded it. Vicious Rumors, again, I think is another card that you consider in place of that. But it's really up to you, the player. Like, again, I leave this deck up to you. I think that it's a good call. This is that turn to play, right, that we were talking about. So what I want to do, though, is put into play Burning Earth and Ob Nixilis. Is that crazy? Can I do that? So let me just figure out the math here. So it's going to be boop, boop. For 3 black, boop. For Jeska's Will, let's just say we make 5 red. So that's 1 generic, 1 red, 1 red. 1 black, excuse me, from the Cabal Ritual. So Cabal Ritual nets us what? 2 black? That's just that's silly. That doesn't make any sense. But we have to do it this way. So let's just say we make 2 black and then we make 5 red, right? Someone will have 5 cards in hand. Is that crazy? So if we do that, we have 7 mana. That should be enough to put down Gibbering Fiend and Ob Nixilis, but no more than that. So we'll just do that. I think that's fair. So we'll do both of these. I know it's weird sequencing it this way because we lose the exile off the top with Jeska's Will, but we're going to be doing that anyways when we cast Gibbering Fiend. So, Danny H8, enjoy. I will. Thank you. I hope you enjoy the list as well. So it enters the battlefield. Each deals 1 damage to each opponent. Okay, whenever 1 or more opponents each lose exactly 1 life, put a 1/1 counter, and we'll. I'll just add the counters this way, and then I will exile the top card of my library. It is a City of Brass. He specifically states until your next turn you may play that card. So technically we can play City of Brass as our land per turn next turn. We do have 1 mana floating though. You know what? We do have 1 mana floating. So let's just do the Sensei's Dividing Top. Sequencing. No better options. We'll probably go for the Tarnished Citadel though, because it gives us the most options, right? Because we know that it's City of Brass and a Braid, right? We know that City of Brass and a Braid, and if this is what we've exiled, we know that we can look at the top 3, maybe dig 1 deeper, and then potentially maneuver these around. I put a Braid on top because we have our land for next turn. Also, Ancient Tomb, you know, is there. So we have that. All right, so I think that's it. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if there are 4 or more card types in your graveyard, it does 1 damage. Well, there aren't. We have an instant, we have a sorcery, and we have a land so far. So we do need to get 1 more thing in there. So sadly, it's not going to do the thing. We'll go to next turn, get the Abrade, and I think that knowing that we have the City of Brass there, we want to do Scorching Earth, or Burning Earth, excuse me. I wish this guy did 1 damage. Can't really get in on that. Let's just do the top 3 here and see what we have. Imperial Seal. We're not exiling a dang thing right now. So really the fact of the matter is, even though we had a fast start, it's still a slow start because our pinger isn't really doing enough. Not yet. Can you activate top and rearrange the top 3 in response to Ob Nixilis trigger? Yes, right? So that's what I went back and did. I think that makes more sense. Like before you exile the thing, go ahead and if you have leftover mana, which we did in that ritual setup, just rearrange the top and get what you need on top instead so you can sort of navigate what your next turn is going to be. So I'm sorry, we just rearranged this. I left Imperial Seal on top. I don't think we care though, sadly. Oh, you know what, man? Is it weird to destroy our own artifact just to have 4 cards in graveyard for this to trigger? At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, I honestly am considering abrading like my own thing just because I want the 4th card. Because this pinger is not doing anything unless it's pinging, right? And obviously for this turn, you know, this is as much as we could do. We would either do Ancient Tomb or the Scalding Tarn. Honestly, I don't care about the Imperial Seal. I probably should care more about it, but I don't. We have our Blood Crypt and our Badlands, so we're technically just gonna grab a mountain. I don't know what other duels we have in the list outside of those 2. I don't think I added any. I just want to put this down. And yeah, we can just play Pretenzi for a moment here. So whenever a player taps a non-basic land, that happens a lot. So let's just say on the less generous side, if no one removed Ob Nixilis and this is just on the battlefield, on the less generous end, we're going to say 4 cards get exiled. Meathook Massacre, All Will Be One, Soul Ring, and Mount Doom. Not officially out yet, but it is a land per turn. I love how Mount Doom doesn't enter tapped either. It's so good. Sacrifice it and a legendary artifact, choose up to 2 creatures, and then destroy the rest. Activate only as a sorcery. Such a sick card. Okay, so on that note, we're going to take a turn. And we'll play Mox Opal. Okay. We obviously want to go for the All Will Be One, but we don't have any way to ensure that it combos, like that we get the combo rather. Excuse me. Each creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. To be honest, Meathook Massacre might be the best thing going into this turn just to ensure, right? Provided I have the mana requisite to do all of this still. So I will do the Mount Doom for turn. I will do Soul Ring. I want to do Meathook Massacre only because I want to kill off a bunch of things. Well, it really only matters if I kill my own thing. I just want to pull into like a REB or something to give me the prospects of like actually landing this, even with contention. So if I did Meathook Massacre for 1, that's 3. I've got 1 generic floating from the Mana Crypt here, right? So if I do black, black, I have 1, 2, because it would be black, black, and this. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's exactly enough for this. Yeah, it would need to be a deflecting swat off the top. Whatever. We'll do it. We'll do it because this guy hasn't been doing a damn thing for me. Whoops. Sorry, Gibbering Fiend. Okay, so everyone, each opponent loses 1 life. Cool. Exile the top. Is it... Oh, Copper Tablet. That's good. Well, we're gonna lose that until your next end step. Oh no, technically, well, nope, that's this end step, isn't it? Okay, so we're gonna play All Will Be One. We technically needed to do All Will Be One and then Meathook Massacre to get the trigger, right? So let's just say we did it that way, and then we want to top deck a solution. Obviously, just kill Ob Nixilis at this point. There's plenty of things you could do. And then in response, you know, they could tap their lands and stuff, and maybe we see a few more cards. Again, it needs to be a deflecting swat in this scenario to matter. But yeah, that's cool, actually. That Meathook Massacre can actually trigger All Will Be One in a pinch. Because our pinger wasn't doing a damn thing. But we needed that. So, yeah. That's technically a win unprotected. Let's just go one more time and see if we can get this to work better. Okay. Can you activate top? Yes, we can. So this is better. This is better. This is good. We'll keep this. So let's do, oh man, Prismatic Vista. Yeah, we'll do the P Vista for a mountain. And then we'll do this. We'll do the Ragavan. I wish Ragavan was a 1-2 in this instance. I really do. But we'll put Ragavan down and then we'll pass. Okay, next turn. Let's go ahead and add our Swamp to the mix. We'll attack with Ragavan. It doesn't really matter what they have because I don't want to think that hard into this play test, but we get a treasure from that. That much is true. In this instance, Dark Ritual is just the better tutor. You probably want to keep that active. I do want to get our... Technically, what we could do is Dark Ritual Mountain into our Ob Nixilis and then play cEDH Parasite. And I think that's the better play here. And normally I would try to keep the better ritual for a different play, but this is the play. So we're going to go for it. So we're going to go for Ob Nixilis here, and then we'll get rid of the treasure in the mountain. We'll do cEDH Parasite. Okay. So, and again, we own a red permanent. So if they draw a card, they'll lose a life. And that includes the first card they draw each turn. So bar minimum, we're going to be exiling 3 cards here, provided this is all kosher. This is a good setup for once. We got a good setup. And you know, again, we're exiling things with Ragavan. So we could have gotten something out of that, but we're not going to think that hard. Okay. We get Leech Ridden Swamp for next turn, Demonic Tutor for next turn, and Marsh Flats. And that's if they're not drawing anything beyond a Tymna or a Crom as well. Let's just, there's a Tymna player, and we get 1 more draw. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this is where I want that Dark Ritual, right? We just double down on the effect, but we still have a lot going here, so I don't mind so much. We're going to go top deck. Of all these lands, I'd rather keep the channel land still in my hand, and I would put, I hate that it enters play tapped, but that's kind of where I'm at, because if cEDH Parasite could definitely be something that was removed, I could see someone wanting to remove that. We're going to put 1, 2, 3 counters on my boy. Or sorry, 4 counters on my boy, technically. So he's got really big there. Let's go in. This is the free attack. Obviously, this Goldfish game in the pod with Belby and Necropotence player, right? Yeah, I wish, Matt. Oh God, can you imagine? Yeah, this is that pod. We're gonna just get a massive draw, or you know what I mean. I'm gonna just call it draw because it's virtually draw, but you know what I'm saying. So this is the Ragavan attack. Cool. We get the thing. We get the treasure. Okay, so why I like Leech Ridden Swamp, excuse me, is that it's a good way to peel into more cards, at least 1 off the top. But do I really want that to be my land per turn? With the way this hand is working, if I went for Demonic Tutor here. Okay, so if I went for Demonic Tutor here, it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. I would need, if I were... my thought is like if I'm trying to pull into an ad nauseum, right? So I do Demonic Tutor. Let's just say that this was my land. That's 1, 2 for Demonic Tutor. And I do Desperate Ritual. That's 3. I do Grim Monolith. And then I have 4 mana and a red. That ain't it, right? So truth be told, the game is going much slower than we would like right now. I do think that Underworld Dreams is probably the better play here. And the only way we can accomplish that is with the treasure, the marsh flats, and the swamp. The DT would actually have to just go, which I hate saying. So I almost want to just cast DT for some fast mana or something else instead to see if we can't get the ball rolling on Underworld Dreams still. It could just be Cabal Ritual, I guess. But that doesn't feel that good. Let's see. Let's weigh our options here. We're going to go for the Badlands. Leech Ridden Swamp is just going to be exiled because we can't play another land this turn. But I do want to use the DT, so we'll do this and this. We'll go for DT here, and we'll get some... It feels weird, like, not grabbing Underworld Breach, excuse me. It feels weird not grabbing Underworld Breach, or something that you know is going to help effectively win the game on your next turn, right? So you could just grab the Ad Nauseam, because we have the mana for it. I do want to get that Underworld Dreams, though, because I think the idea for this list is to be grindier. Again, this is my first time playing it. To be grindier, to build that big hand, and to effectively win out over the game after, like, getting a fat hand of protection for your ad nauseum. So just going dirty on the ad nauseum right now. We have the bolt bend, so we could technically protect ad nauseum with this hand. But do I feel comfortable trying that? I would rather play to our strengths here and just grab the Cabal Ritual and then cross my fingers on the rest. So let's go here, treasure. Again, I think that ad nauseum might have been the more effective play here, but I do want to play the Underworld Dreams because we have it. Okay, so boop, boop, Underworld Dreams comes into play. We are out of mana, plumb out of mana, but that's okay. I feel okay with this. So we're gonna, okay. I don't even know what's fair to say. We have 2 of these draw engines. I said 4 cards last turn. Just need a way to make things a bit faster. Yeah, Drunk, honestly, we need that Belby with Necropotence, like Matt suggested. But let's just say that for this, we're gonna go like 10 deep. Right? Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's just say 9. 9 seems fair, right? Like the draw per turn, that's 3 cards, that's 6 total. And then let's just, that 9 doesn't make sense. It has to be 10. Fine. There was that much draw. That seems fair, right? Like whether it was some form of cantrip or there's so many ways people draw. Like I don't foresee this not hitting really heavily by turn 4. So I feel good with this. Heuristic Study, Mystic Remora, Sylvan Library, all of that nonsense. Like 10 is fair. So let's take our next turn. That's if, Ob Nixilis was allowed to remain alive. I think that the board we just set up is so grossly effective, it would have been very, very wise to just get rid of Ob Nixilis at this point. But they were really sweet and didn't. So we've got options here, the Bloodstained Mire or the Luxury Suite. I'm just going to put Luxury Suite into play to make our lives easier. All of the lands can be exiled at this point to just give us a cleaner view of what we're working with here. So we have a Fork and a Reverberate in hand, so we can very easily copy some answers that people might have for us. Copper Tablet's just gross here. We're going to go ahead and put the Mana Vault into play with the Mountain. And sadly, there isn't a good way to peel through our list with what's here. But we do have Prosper to give us some, honestly, like looking at that Prosper, let's just wind this back really quick. We're still going to play the Luxury Suite, but it is a play effect. So what I think we're going to do for Prosper, is attack with Ragavan. Let's say we have the out, right? We've got a way to get the treasure token. Sure. I don't even know where that token went. Did it make it? Okay, cool. We've got that. Let's do the Mountain still for the Mana Vault. We'll tap here and cast Prosper. We have 1 generic floating and bloop, bloop. And then we're going to play Luxury Suite. Whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. So we're up 2 treasures. And then I'll play the Copper Tablet with... we're going to play the Copper Tablet with our generic that's floating from Mana Vault and our Luxury Suite. All right, cool. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, they're going to take 1 more damage. Cool. Now we have 3 treasures. We're going to play the Rolling Vortex. Right? We're going to go down 2 treasures, up 1 treasure. Right? So down 2, up 1. So we're at 2 treasures now. And I think with that, we could probably ignore the Meat Hook Massacre, and the Reverberate's just going to have to die unless there's something we can do with it. I don't think I'm seeing anything in my hand immediately. But I do want to do a few more things. So we do have our hands to deal with. We could just play a Grim Monolith casually. That doesn't give us treasures, though. Yeah, that's okay. We'll exile these things. Okay. Rakdos... 4 TWs. The treasures? So yeah, exile at the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until your next end turn. So cool. Cool. Yeah, so I've never played with Prosper, so I need to just make sure I hit these triggers. So we got a Mountain off the top. That's cool. Nice. All right, so between Roiling Vortex, Underworld Dreams, and Copper Tablet, how much exile are we going to see? Right? Let's just say that someone's trying to remove Ob Nixilis at this point. We're going to go ahead and Bolt Bend, like end step, and we'll redirect that at something else, okay? So that puts us at somewhat of a disadvantage here, but I just want to give them the benefit of the doubt. We could have put Mayhem Devil down, but I don't think that Mayhem Devil is absolutely needed with this board state. I would rather Mayhem Devil go into a Chrome Mox after an Ad Nauseam or something at this point. There's so much going on with our board. So much. Okay, so we are going to give ourselves a hyper generous, again, just 12 cards off the top. There's Chrome Mox. 1, 2, 3, 4. We had to cast Red Elemental Blast to keep our guy alive. Treasure, we get another treasure. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold up. Vampiric Tutor is over there. The Ob Nixilis trigger on the stack. I'm going to go ahead and use a treasure, gain a treasure, Vampiric Tutor. I'm going to put on top of my library Underworld Breach. It could be all with, just all will be one. All will be one, sure. I mean, technically, with the DT in my graveyard, it almost feels better. Yeah, no, it's always better. I'm setting up for all will be one here, but I'm going to DT, or sorry, Vampiric Tutor the Underworld Breach. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? I said just a very cool 10 off of Copper Tablet, Roiling Vortex, Kendrick Parasite, and Underworld Breach, provided they're still there. And again, we're goldfishing, so there's, who knows what have happened. All right, so next turn. Okay, so we lose a life for that. Probably relevant. Ragavan, I'm not even going to think about. We've got the Underworld Breach to think about, though. We've got our land per turn if we want it with the swamp, and I might as well just play it unless there's a better utility here. And we're going to just put the things off to the side that we don't need at the moment. So all these pingers we don't need. We are going to go ahead and cast the Strike It Rich, put it into our graveyard. We're going to go up 2 treasures. 1 for Prosper, 1 for the Strike It Rich. We've got Praetor's Grasp and Chrome Mox. We're going to cast Chrome Mox. Chrome Mox is going to generate a treasure, and we're going to go ahead and exile Mayhem Devil. Right? Cool. We have a fork in our hand to copy any sort of counter magic against us. That is about the only thing we have. However, we can dig a little bit deeper here, though, if we use our imagination. So let's go ahead and cast. Let's cast. Is it mana of any color with him? No, it doesn't matter. No, it's mana. It's not mana of any color with any of them. We're gonna Praetor's Grasp like a what's it? Pact of not Pact of Negation. Force of Negation. Is that the one where you control your commander? No. What is it called? What's the blue one if you control your commander? Commander. Counter. Fierce Guardianship. Cool. We're going to Praetor's Grasp first. So let's do 1, 2, 3. From exile. Make a treasure. Prosper. Praetor's Grasp. I'm going to create a token of your... what did I just say it was? Fierce Guardianship. Cool. All right, now we're going to put... Oh, is Praetor's Grasp, how does that read? Then, search target player's library for a card and exile it face down. You may look at and play it. Yeah, wow. Prosper, Praetor's Grasp, Fierce Guardianship is probably the best combo ever. We make a treasure when we cast Fierce Guardianship? Damn. Okay, we're going to do Chrome Mox and Luxury Suite. For Underworld Breach, we make a treasure. Yeah, Fierce Guardianship. Okay, we had to use Fierce Guardianship. Make a treasure. It goes back to your graveyard, whatever. Oh, it's not good. Okay, so we're going to have to do a fork to copy the counter, stop the counter. Cool. Is Underworld Breach good? Hopefully it's good. Okay, so what can we do here? Let's fill up our graveyard with stuff. We're going to go here and make 3 red. And then we're going to use 2 of the red to cast the Grim Monolith. And go up 3 generic. And now we're going to cast Cabal Ritual. I mean, you see what's happening here. all that's really happening, move to hands. We just want to cast the Cabal Ritual, people. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cabal Ritual. Right, so we've cast that. Did I use the mana requisite for it? No. 1 generic, 1 treasure, Cabal Ritual. And now we have 5 black. Cool, and we're gonna get rid of the, don't do what I'm doing here. I'm not gonna look for the lands necessarily, but 2, 3 Bolt Bend, sure. I'm just gonna put these in my hand so it's easier and leave these off to the side where you can't see them. But this is my graveyard. This is my graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, that's my graveyard. I still have a land. I still have 2 treasures. I have 1 red, 5 black, and 1 generic. Is that accurate? I've got 1 red, 1 generic, 2 treasures, 5 black. Let's use the red and the generic here. Why not? To just make 3 red. This will represent red. And then we'll get rid of more cards. Do I have enough to make this work? No, we should probably just use Demonic Tutor for the thing now. I lied to you. We're going to just keep the 1 red and use the generic and a black to cast Demonic Tutor. Demonic Tutor is going to get rid of Vampiric Tutor, Strike It Rich, and there's probably a better line of play here. I'm just not trying to think that hard. Okay, we're going to do all will be 1. And again, I kept REB. Maybe it would have been worth keeping the Bolt Bend as well. You never know, you might need to cast them. And again, if all of this is happening over top of Rhystic Study, there's so much more exile potential plays being made here. It's hard to goldfish this deck, but we have all we want in hand. Yay! All right, so we have 4 black, 1 red, and 2 treasures. So we're gonna do the 1 red, the 1 treasure, and then 3 black. Is it advisable to just go for Grinding Station and actually like really protect this? 100%. You should go for Grinding Station and play this out thoroughly. Grinding Station would incorporate you playing it, sacrificing all your artifacts, and then building towards like making more treasures with like a Dockside, sacrificing all your treasures and artifacts, or like all the treasures you don't need. There's a series of plays you would want to do, but any mana positive rock in your graveyard will allow you to mill through your list with Grinding Station, and you'll pull into Aetherflux Reservoir, or all will be 1. Okay, so what we don't have, as I'm considering this, is a way like our Leech-ridden Swamp to start the ping effects, but what we could do is just pass our turn and let someone top deck draw and kill everyone, right? And that's how this is going to work out effectively, because I don't think we have a way to make people take damage at this point. But we're going to cast all will be 1 because that's what we work towards. Again, is this the best play line? Probably not. Is there something we can DT for at this point? No, that's okay. I mean, if we cast, actually, screw that. I've got the treasure in a black. I'll cast Firebrand Archer, go up a treasure, and then cast all will be 1. Right? Oh, no, that doesn't work either. We still need the free. Oh, no, we need a free cast. We need something. We need something other than, oh no, it's fine, but you get the idea. Woo, okay. Again, there were so many better things to do on that final turn. I really do recommend you just, if you do the Underworld Breach thing, use the DT for your Grinding Station. I just wanted to try to illustrate the all will be 1 play, but this particular lineup, like nothing allowed us to tap to do the damage unless I'm mistaken. Like it was a draw effect, an upkeep trigger, and another upkeep trigger for the damage. So nothing would have given it to us unless we had like Disciple of the Vault or something like that, so we can pop treasures and do it, which we did not have. Whenever an opponent draws a card, yeah, there's no way for us to get there. This deck has an automatic value for using Forbidden Orchard and giving opponents 1/1s. Does it? Is that a good plan? I don't know. Forbidden Orchard, right? Giving them 1/1s as spirits? Maybe. But at any rate, so that's the idea. Again, go for Grinding Station there instead, but you get the idea. I just wanted to get to the thing. I'm sure there was a way to finagle a Firebrand Archer cast into the all will be 1 cast, right? Non-creature spell all the other things that we exiled off turn were non-creatures. I'm sure we could have sequenced a Firebrand Archer trigger into the All Will Be one that was on the battlefield. But anyways, Ob Nixilis, I think it's fine. I think it's good. I think that this could be streamlined just a little bit more, but the bones of the deck are there. I think All Will Be one with Quest of the Pure Flame and Ob Nixilis Kingpin. Good 1-2 punch in this deck with a pinger. I hate that a lot of our bodies actually have more damage than one, like Firebrand Archer's a 2-1, Ragavan's a 2-1. A lot of our stuff doesn't have the exactly 1 damage, which is kind of annoying. I also have to state that the one guy we had in our previous game that required 4 things being in our graveyard, not very good when you're trying to go quickly. I gotta say, it doesn't set up itself well, particularly because early game you might have as much as an instant, a sorcery, and a land in your graveyard, like ritual fetch land. But getting that 4th one in there, it's an enchant. It's like it's another permanent that you're really not gonna have there unless you make that choice. Like when I was thinking, do I abrade my rock at this moment? I think that this deck is good. I think it could be. I think Prosper did a lot of work here. Like it is mana hungry, and Prosper was definitely necessary. I like where it's at. I'd love to see what you guys do with it though. All right, on that note, pleasure brewing with you. I hope you enjoyed the list. Definitely make better with this and leave a link to your deck in the comments after this. I'd love to see what you do. The land base needs to be refined. Let me just start there. But elsewise, really happy with the deck. Oh, you know what could have helped us is if we made, because we didn't attack this turn, we still had Soken Zan, Crucible of Defiance in our hand. We might have been able to cast those 2 hungry spirits that are hasty. Loyal Apprentice generates 1/1 Thopters, but pingers seem more reliable. Yeah. Drunk, stay golden. Thank you. I will. But guys, I'm going to have a fun time this evening. I hope you all do as well. And I'll see you on the next live stream. It's a fun one. I liked it. I'm not going to lie to you about that. Now I'm looking at the coloring. Am I too saturated? I'm going to fool this way. I'm going to fool. Let's do the ISO. Ugh. I can't win here. That looks good to me.